So here is my Mexican seasoning. I use 2 teaspoons of chili powder, 1 teaspoon of cumin, 1 teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of black pepper, and 3 cloves of garlic. I like it because it's got a little bit of heat and it will make my food taste yummy. Here is the onion that I'm going to be working with. It's actually quite large. I know my cutting board's pretty small, but this is going to be enough onion for all of the garnishes on the tacos for today. And voila, there is some diced onion to garnish our tacos with. I'm not going to show you how to dice an onion though, because guess what? This is Spanish class. This is not a cooking show. Alrighty, so a little bit about the asada taco. It's a taco where the meat is getting grilled. So these are often used at family events. So a lot of times families will get together once a week, typically on Sundays, where they all gather around the fire pit, they grill some meat off, and then they throw it into a taco, and it's all about family. So it's a really cool experience. So what we're going to be doing is seasoning our chicken, grilling it, putting it in a taco, and seeing how it tastes. Here is our seasoning for the grilled asada tacos. So we got some very little cinnamon, some chili powder, garlic powder, and salt once again. And that's what we're going to be sprinkling onto our chicken before we throw it onto the grill. Fun fact, taqueros are people who make tacos. Taquerias are places where you can buy tacos. So relating this back to what we've learned so far this year, we learned libros are books. Liberias are places where you buy books. So that ria, that little ending can often be used to talk about a place that sells something. So taqueria is where you buy your tacos. But C changes to a Q. So now the chicken's on the grill. I've seasoned it on the cutting board before I put it on the grill, and we're going to wait a couple more minutes to see how it comes out. Alrighty, well here is the asada taco, the grilled taco, with the cilantro, onion, salsa, chicken, taco shell. I'm going to eat this and let you guys know how it goes. Alright, well my dad is currently testing out the salsa, but grilled taco, it's pretty good. My salsa came out pretty fruity. We think it's because I might have used not ripe enough tomatoes. So regardless, I think grilled taco, the asada taco, muy bueno. Adios. So, to close out with the asada taco, let's talk about a good life lesson, because all of this stuff is coming from a documentary, which always concluded with a life lesson. So, the life lesson that I would have to share with you guys about this video, family first. See if you can translate that into Spanish. Family first. Tacos de la canasta, tacos of the basket. These tacos are very, very unique. They kind of remind me a lot of hot dog stands in America. So you can find these tacos on random corners. People will put a basket full of 700 to 800 tacos on the back of their bike and bike to wherever they can sell these tacos. They'll bike to where the people are. They sell these tacos for really cheap because there's not much in them. So let me show you how to make a taco de... So, for los tacos de la canasta, the tacos of the basket, we use chunks of onion instead of diced onion. So first I'm going to cut up this onion and then we'll throw it into the pan and start cooking. So I've got my onion and chili powder in there. I'm going to pour in some water. And then it's time to add the chicken. And once it starts to boil, I'm going to take my chicken, cook it in here, and then that's my taco filling. So, what would you consider the mother vegetation? In Mexico, we would consider it to be corn, maíz. So, even though I'm using flour tortillas in all of my tacos for today, because that's kind of all the grocery store had when I was getting ready for today's lesson, most often these types of tacos, 3 of the 4, would use corn tortillas. And something that I learned when I was doing my research getting ready for today, corn can actually be blue, which I didn't really know. I knew it could be red, but it can also be blue, which was very curious. So, if you're wondering which one of these 4 tacos typically doesn't use a corn tortilla, it would be the asada taco, the taco that we talked about first. Alright, so for los tacos de la canasta, the tacos of the basket, there's a certain way that these get prepared. First, you take your taco shell, you actually dip it into the meat so you can get some of the juices from the meat onto the shell. These are very, very fatty tacos. You can buy them on the corner for about 5 pesos, but they're all prepared a long, long time beforehand. Once you have your taco shell in there, you pick up some of your meat, you throw it in to the shell, and then serve it with salsa. This is not a clean taco, but that's all there is to it. So, we're going to try it out and enjoy. Yeah, wouldn't it be kind of cool if there was a certain technique that you could use to hold your taco and make sure that all that filling doesn't fall out the back? Well, I have news for you. There is a strategy for that. So, in this next picture, I'm going to show you the 2-finger technique because I'm not very good at it yet, so I'm going to make sure that you see it from a professional. It's where you have 2 fingers above the taco, and then your ring finger pinches the back end of the taco up, so all that nice goodness stays inside your taco and you don't spill it all over your clothes and look like a mess. So, no video of me eating the taco de la canasta. As you could see when I was making it and assembling it, it was very, very messy. If I had to rank this one, it'd be a little bit lower on the list. It's got a lot of juices, and it was very, very messy, and it was a rough experience. So, I'm definitely not a professional at making tacos de la canasta. I will fully admit to that one. But let's keep going and see what the next taco is. How could I forget? Life lesson for this taco. Enjoy the simple things in life. There's no better way than just to enjoy, relish the moment, and just stick with things. So, what might that life lesson be in Spanish? So, to start off talking about los tacos guisados, the stew tacos, I'm going to actually start off with the history of where this taco originated from. Long ago, a man, Moctezuma, he was one of the rulers of it back in the old days. He was hiding from the Spaniards when they were beginning their conquest over Mexico. They made these tacos out of whatever food was available. So they're really just a conglomerate of different pieces of food thrown into a tortilla. And that tradition has transpired and gone through time and survived throughout all of these years. So, what these different taquerias, the places where you would buy a stew taco, might look like are very similar to what some pizza shops, for me, my personal experience, they remind me of Stinger's Pizza Pub, where there's a couple of different pizzas on display. So you might have your cheese pizza, your pepperoni pizza, and your buffalo chicken pizza all on display in a window, and you're like, that one looks good right now. So, these are very similar to los tacos guisados. So, you can walk into a taqueria, you say, that looks like a good filling, I want that in one of my tacos, but that one does too, so I want one of those tacos. You're getting different fillings for different tacos, and then you sit down and you eat your tacos. A couple of different ways that these tacos get eaten. You might be having leftovers, and you're just like, I don't know how to eat these, but I'm going to throw them into a tortilla and make a taco. A lot of times, it's also about community building. So if you're on your lunch break at work, everybody brings different fillings in, somebody brings tortillas, and you fill up the tacos with each person. You go around and say, hey, I want a little bit of your food, and you put that in the taco, you share it, and it's all about community. A lot of times, these will also be filled with just home recipes. So what I'm going to be using is my favorite Mexican recipe that I've come up with over my years, and that's going to be my taco filling. So
here's how you would make my taco filling.
For the taco de guisado, I am going to be using my favorite recipe to make the stew that will go into the taco. So I'm going to use red onion compared to yellow onion, which I've been using for the rest of these recipes. Alrighty, so for the tacos guisados, I'm doing 2 proteins. I'm doing chicken and I'm doing shrimp. I'm also going to use black beans and onion with my personal own seasoning.
So at this point, you're starting to see the pattern. You know it's time for a fun fact. Did you know that pigs, cerdos, are not native to Mexico? They were first brought from Europe over by Christopher Columbus to Cuba. From there, a couple years later, Hernan Cortez brought those pigs from Cuba over to Mexico. And now a lot of tacos are made with pork and beef. So that pork, I don't really like pork, I'll be completely honest, and that's why all of these tacos are being made with chicken today. But pork is used traditionally in a lot of tacos, and honestly, they were supposed to be used in all of these tacos today. But I digress, I like chicken, so that's what I use instead.
Alrighty, this is going to be my taco guisado, the stew taco. These are typically made with leftovers, so I have my secret recipe. I usually make this as a bowl, just whenever I feel hungry. I usually make a bowl of this and have some leftovers afterwards. But this time, I'm going to use it as my taco filling. So I'll let you guys know how it tastes.
I'm going to flex a little bit. I think that's what hip teacher knows as flex, show off a little bit, brag, a humble brag. This taco came out delicious. I mean, maybe that's just me because I used my recipe and I really like this recipe and I really do eat it probably twice a week. This taco came out great. Humble brag. But also, these tacos remind a lot of people of home. They're all about these home-cooked meals. So, I'm going to use a song title from back in the day for our life lesson. Life lesson for this taco. Who says you can't go home? Now, what's that in Spanish? Last taco of the day. Such a shame that this has to come to an end. We have the carnitas tacos. These are known as being really slow-cooked tacos. They take a long time and a lot of dedication. So it's no surprise that some families, we're getting to the fun fact a little bit early this time, but some families dedicate their lives to just this one style of taco. There's been 5 generations that work to perfect this single type of taco. It's the style of cooking is where you boil a chicken in its own fat, or not just a chicken, whatever meat you're working with. Chicken doesn't have a lot of fat, so I took a little shortcuts in my making this taco. But overall, it came out pretty good. So this is so relating back to tradition, this idea of tradition that we talked about earlier this year, especially with Day of the Dead, where family is one of the most important things in life. So, bringing it back to full circle, 5 generations have gone into building this taco, and I'm going to do my best to respect that tradition and show you how I've taken it on with this taco.
So here's my crock pot. I've got the timer set for 4 hours on high temperature, and it's got 1 chicken breast with my taco seasoning and 1 cup of chicken broth. And we're going to come back and see how that baby's doing in just a little bit. So now, just taking a quick check-in with our slow-cooked taco. I shredded up the chicken breast that we put into the crock pot. There's just about an hour left, so we're going to just let it sit in there and let it finish up. Now, is it just me, or did those 4 hours fly by fast? We got the chicken, we got the salsa, we got the onion, we got the tortilla, and the cilantro. Let's assemble this final taco and put it all together.
How did this taco taste? I'm glad you asked. It tasted actually really good. It was a little saltier because I used chicken broth instead of using chicken fat, which, I mean, still, the idea of using too much fat in cooking, I gotta keep my nice figure. And especially in this time where we can't go outside too much, I gotta make sure I'm watching what I eat. So, it takes a lot of dedication to make this taco, and it definitely pays off. So, just like anything in life, make sure you're using your time wisely. Make sure that you put forth the effort and the good things will come out of it. So, learn every day. People have been doing this for 5 generations and are still coming up with new ideas, ways to improve. So, life lesson for this taco, learn every day. What might that be in Spanish? And then have a great rest of your day, and I hope to see you guys real soon.